You know you got me, girl. I like the way that you move, the way you shake your body, girl. I got a whole lot of plans for you.
So let's use L2, see what happens. So this knob right here, I'm pretty sure you know, but if you didn't, for those who don't know, if you click on this this right here, it's gonna move both of these at the same time. So it's gonna keep the volume the same while you are adding compression. That way you can hear the signal as soon as it starts to change. You'll know. Well, let's go extreme. So obviously the only time you would ever do that is if that was an effect that you were going for. Other than that, I would not recommend that. So when I bypass it on and off, I don't hear too much of a difference. So now I know that this track can go 9.7 dBs higher than where I am currently mixing it at. So let's see what happens when I turn it up. So when you were saying you were getting it around -14, that's right here. It's a little under -14. And so what I would do to get it there is I would change this to none, and then I would just add a second one. You can use the same kind, or you could use a completely different one to give it a different characteristic. It's up to you. -3 dB is probably as far as I would want to take this one in the attenuation. So that's just me. So at that point, that track is pretty loud. You add a vocal rapping or singing over it, and when the vocal's present, it's actually going to sound louder. So that's what I would do. That's how I get my music to sound loud. But when I mix my records, anything that I personally touch, there's a good chance that I'm not going to master it. I can make the track loud, and I can get it to the point where, you know, it's going to compete with, you know, any song on the radio. But I believe that the master shouldn't be done by the same person mixing. That's just me. Obviously people are doing it now, but I don't know. Like, if I master somebody's record, I'm going to fix things that I think could have been a little better to get the record to the point of where they want it to be. If I'm mastering my own, if that process or if that problem occurs, I need to go back to the mix. I should be mixing the record better. So as far as all the plugins that you have on your master bus, there's nothing wrong with it. I would just say, make sure you have a purpose of why you're putting it on there. Don't just put it on there because you saw somebody do it and you're like, hey, you know, it made it sound better. Like, no, okay, I want the track to sound a little more warmer or more bottom end. So that would be the reason why you would add the tape. And it's everything that you do on the master bus should be subtle. Obviously, this is dramatic because we're, turning the volume up. But as far as anything that has flavor, you want that to be subtle. Subtle movements, subtle gestures, overall, over a long period of time, or over a small period of time, is going to sound better. Trying to think that addressed everything. I mean, without hearing your actual song that you're working on, it's hard for me to say. Like hearing it in my studio, it's hard for me to say what the problem areas are. But if you're having problems with loudness and it being clear, you might be pushing it too loud, or you might just have something unbalanced. And just for fun, let's check and see how well I did on the balance. So let's do tonal balance control. I'm gonna put it before the limiter. I got the setting on heavy bass. You saw me do this all right now, so I can't, it may be in the lines, it may not be. But I would mix with this on to make sure it is in the line. I forgot to do it, honestly, or otherwise I would have done that. But let's see where it's at. So the information that I got from here is that my bass might be a tad bit too loud. The mids are lacking, but the reason why it's lacking is because probably that's where the vocal's gonna sit. So that's okay. So let's actually turn that bass down and see what happens. All right, where's my bass? The 808. Oh, and mind you, there's no processing. So this is all simple limiting. There's processing, obviously, things that I did with there is processing on this one. There's no processing on the kick. So let's turn this down and see what happens. And that, honestly, I can live with. So yeah, it's all about starting from the mix. Like, you need to mix with the intent of it being loud. It's easier to turn a track louder when it's balanced. Think of it this way: if there was a loudness illustration, and this is where your subs are, or your bass, and everything, from the mid range on for the vocals, the snares is kind of sitting kind of here. When you try to turn it up, the compressor is going to react to this and it's going to distort, while this is not going to be loud enough. Where in actuality, if you can find a way to get your subs to hit like here, same spot, but get all of this to turn up a little higher, then when you raise up, everything goes up louder. I don't know if that even made sense. I just made it up. Hopefully you understood that. So it's all about the balance. So go back to the mix, focus on the balance, focus on making sure that it sounds balanced. Yeah, there we go. Hopefully that answers your question. Oh, and another thing, because you might not be as seasoned as the next person, this is what I would suggest you do. I'm gonna have to edit this video. Hopefully it doesn't come out too long. So let's mute all of this. All right. So if you are gonna want your tracks to be louder, if you want to know what the compressor is going to do, or the limiter is going to do, I would say mix into the limiter. So set the limiter at, I don't know, say -10 with a -0.2 ceiling, and then mix into it. Oops, not what I meant to do. So that's obviously one way to do it as well. Mixing into the limiter. Anything, actually for me, if I put something on my master bus, I put them and I set them at a conservative level to where they're not overworking, and then I actually mix into my master bus. Sometimes I use a master bus, sometimes I don't. Sometimes the master bus is needed for extra low end feel, and I'll do that. So yeah, those are a couple ways that I would do it. But if your main focus is loudness from the jump, then it's almost like you're jumping ahead. So you kind of want to make sure that the mix is balanced properly, and the mix sounds so good, like just, oh my God, this mix is amazing, without even worrying about how loud it's going to be. Just try to get mix the record to where it just sounds good at the level that it's at. I mean, you have the system, so you can turn the speakers up loud while you mix, while maintaining a quiet volume in the DAW. I don't mix loud, I mix quiet, but like when you want to check, turn it up loud, see what happens. I mean, you'll hear a lot of things when there's nothing on the master bus and you just turn your monitors up. Other than that, hopefully you guys saw this. Man, this video was so long, and I'm gonna have to edit all of this down because I was having problems with the audio. So until next time, please hit the subscribe button, the bell notification button. If you have any questions, if you would like me to critique your studio, send me a video to Ericson.Presents, Ericson.Presents at gmail.com. Ericson.Presents at gmail.com. Send me a quick video, go through, take a video of it, and I'll look at it, and I'll do the same thing for yours. And hopefully this will help your mixes get a lot better. I know I wish I had somebody do it for me when I was starting, so till the next time.
You know you got me, girl. Tomorrow, girl. I like the way that you move, the way you shake your body, girl. I got a